Good afternoon, everyone. My dear colleagues, my students, today under NEP, we are going to present a webinar related to Indian knowledge system, language, art and culture with special reference to Vaishnavite culture and Patras of Assam. I'd like to welcome today Mr. Dipankar Mahanta sir. Sir started his professional career as an entrepreneur by promoting network marketing, a firm established with the objective of marketing of small-scale industry products. Since February 91 to August 97, he served the Guwahati Stock Exchange in various responsibilities concerning the Indian capital market. He was associated with Vivekananda Kendra, a voluntary organization headquartered at Kanyakumari. He was also the secretary of Guwahati branch from 2001 to 2003 and later the associate director of Vivekananda Kendra Institute of Culture. Presently, since November 2009, he is working as a social entrepreneur, as a research person and trainer in the area of knowledge of self and its management in organizations like IIE, NIRD, NYK, and various other colleges and education institutions. He has also served as an independent director at National Aluminium Company Limited, NALCO, December 2015 to November 2019. So I welcome you, sir.
Thank
Now,
you.
I would like to invite our director, ma'am, Mrs. Sumur to welcome sir in this occasion to give welcoming words to Mr. Dipankar Mahanta, sir.
Thank you, Shashwat. Thank you very much. Welcome, Mahanta sir. Namaskar.
Thank you. Dhanavad.
We had met on several occasions in BKIC, and maybe you had a chance of visiting our institution sometime. I'm not sure about that. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to welcome you on this platform today, along with us. I can see your profile. How did you start with the interest growing in this Satra and the Vaishnavite culture? Because your background speaks a totally different story. We would like to know it from you. Let me finish once. The thing is that we are here today celebrating the transformative reforms that has been put forward in NEP 2020 by Government of India. And this is one of the lecture series that we have started. And today is the fourth day that we are doing. And today is a special day because we will be dealing with a topic that is a little, offbeat from our engineering studies that we generally do. But I think nothing is irrelevant in any field. Today, everyone is talking about multidisciplinary. And without our background, our culture, our roots, we cannot be anywhere. Neither we can be a good student, nor we can be a good engineer, a doctor, whatever profession we take. Our roots, our culture are the ones that gives us our identity. So I think this is the best, platform where we can have our knowledge sharing from Mahanta sir, where he can give us an insight into the age-old culture, Vaishnavite culture, and the Satras of Assam, which is our identity. I welcome you once again, sir. I will be happy to hear more from you rather than all of us here. And we are all eagerly waiting to listen to you and your presentation. Thank you very much for agreeing to come to us. And I would be happy if you have a physical visit to our institution and meet all our students, giving insight into the knowledge of self to the students. This is also a very important topic. So, welcome again, sir. Thank you for being there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And my sincere apologies because, for this little delay. I still couldn't upload the last file. I couldn't send it to Saswat. That's quite a long file. and the server said that it has rejected. But anyway, whatever we have, I'll try to share. Namaskar to all, and my dear friends, student friends, to the faculties also. I would like to thank Jhumur ma'am for giving me this opportunity, and the institute also. It's a very interesting discussion or webinar series that you have been having. Just to start, maybe that is something which Madam has requested. By the way, request for how I got into this line, because that profile I send it. I should have. I don't know why, but then it becomes important also. My journey from a corporate life, how it took a different route at one point of time, and then again in 2015, I got again another opportunity to get back to a corporate world, where I was an independent director in a company. So straight away to the board. Many of my friends, they are very happy about it because many of them are working in the public sector and a chief general manager level. But they said that before you retire, we won't be able to go to the board. But you, in spite of not working in any corporate and all, you have been in the board. So I tell them it is all his wish, and I mean it. And this is something that I'm a part. In fact, we are all a part of a larger plan, a divine plan, and it keeps on unfolding. And if we're conscious about it, we enjoy the journey. We many a times we say it's a destiny or a luck or whatever it is. But having said that, Vivekananda Kendra, this journey started in '97, I would say, when I left my stock exchange job, and I was a free person there, not a person from 10 to 5. Normally you are, when you are in a job, you are in a 10 to 5 schedule. Or, nowadays, of course, when you are in a virtual world, more so after the pandemic, your working hours is also has gone haywire, where most of the time you're working. So basically, it is a concept of freedom. Freedom from a work which will give you a livelihood and which you might not be enjoying, and freedom from that livelihood to life. I always say that, '97, after I left stock exchange, of course, I did started a consultancy company with, none other person than Dr. Jayanta Madhav, who was the only person who got a license to start the Global Trust Bank. I met him when in Guwahati Stock Exchange, he came to list his company. So, I started a company with him, and there are quite a few more others. And that was a time I was free, and I just wanted to know what is this yoga about, and I had a vague idea, people doing yoga and then elevating oneself, one can float in the air and so on. At that time, I was hearing more of Mahesh Yogi and TM, Transformative. So that's how in Vivekananda Kendra, they still have this course of a week or 10 days program of Yoga Satra. So I went and joined that program in July 1997. And that was a turning point in my life. That was the first time when I understood, or I realized that there is something within me, which is yet to be developed. I was made aware about an existence of myself, which needs to be developed. And the journey begins '97 and it goes on. But I would now this is not the point of time to share about the journey. But since Madam has said, have asked me that how I got into this. So this journey of livelihood to life, this journey of life still goes on. And a very interesting journey with Vivekananda Kendra. And of course, I was fortunate to be associated with Chinmaya Mission, Aurobindo Ashram, then Mahesh Yogi, and many other such organizations which are working. And I took an interest in the community, economics and community development for culture. And 2015, again, I got an opportunity to be in the corporate. And this 4 years has also been a very important learning from me, where I realized the importance of spirituality, and that too in boardroom, and where it has been, where there are the hurdles. In Vivekananda Kendra, we always say that education, it is the educated elite who has yet to, open up, these kind of thought process. Anyway, let me go into the topic, and I'll share more as we get along to today's topic. I'll just I'll have to open the window, no? Okay. So is my screen visible? Is it visible, the PowerPoint?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. So it is like this: the Indian knowledge system, languages, arts, and culture with reference to the Kshatriya tradition of Assam. I'm going to focus on Kshatriya tradition because see, Indian knowledge system is a very wide and very. I'm a student of it. I'm still getting an opportunity to learn about Indian knowledge system, languages, art, and that. So this is like an ocean, never-ending process. Why is the need? The need, I said that Indian knowledge system is all about spirituality. It is all about discovering the truth. It is all about yoga. It is all about the union with the divine. So, see, these are certain concepts which are deeply ingrained in our philosophy. You know, so when we look into India, if it's a living civilization, if you see a civilization which is 5,000 plus years old, if you look into other civilizations which are no more in existence, you can see the Greek, the Rome, Chinese is one civilization which is there. Then in the east, if you look into Japan, that's and more so, it is a larger Asian civilization if you look into it. But coming to India, it is a vibrant and still living civilization which goes on today. And the basic foundation or basic strength of the Indian civilization is a knowledge system. And when we talk about knowledge, it is about spirituality. And many all the saints and rishis, Mahapurus has emphasized on this point of spirituality. Spirituality is all about discovering the truth. And if we look into the recent happenings in the Olympics, and if you see Mary Kom, even after she lost the game, you could have seen a smile on her face and how she enjoyed even after losing. It's just because she enjoyed the spirit of the game. When we look into a game, a football match, typical, there's a winner or a loser. There's in any game, there's a winner or loser. But if we look into the spirit of the game, you are beyond a winning or a losing, level. You're one with the game, and that's the spirit. Likewise, the religion. When we talk about religion, also, religion beyond ritual is a spirit, right? We'll come to that. So it is spirituality. It is all about discovering the truth. The knowledge systems. See, each and every knowledge will lead us to discover the truth. It is all about yoga. Today, yoga is being much discussed internationally. In fact, after the International Yoga Day. And these happenings are nothing but slowly how India is unfolding itself to the destined goal of becoming the Jagat Guru. And when we talk about Jagat Guru, it's based becoming a leader, it is based on spirituality and not on economics or military strength and so on. Yoga is all about a knowledge system. And when we talk about yoga or spirituality, it is about the union with the divine. It looks a very abstract concept. The self or the soul and the Paramatma, Jeev and Jivatma. But in every moment we can understand, we can feel, when we look into life and how life expands, we gradually realize or experience the expansion of life. And the ultimate goal of a purpose of being or why we are here is to unite or union with the divine, the truth, the supreme. We don't know who the divine is. So as Swami Vivekananda, when it comes to education also, Swami Vivekananda said, each soul is potentially divine, and education is the manifestation of the divinity within. It is all about the divinity or the qualities within, which will make us educated, really educated. For me also, my real education got started in '97 when I got associated with Vivekananda Kendra, and for that matter, many other organizations. The next slide, please. So, is the next slide on? Can you see that? Because I'm not being able to see you all people. Is my next slide on?
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
that is video.
Right. Now, so creation, in every field, I'm talking about those days where there has been creation. Today also, we regard creation and we understand what creativity is about, what creation is all about. So in every field, be it astrology, astronomy, mathematics, architecture. If you mathematics, it's always said that no, in a lighter sense, what has India contributed? Nothing but a big zero. But then if you see here, without zero, you cannot mathematics couldn't have progressed this far, thus far. So if you look into architecture, if you look into the temple architecture today, we don't have people who can live up to those kind of a temple structure, that kind of a feat today. So you can see what kind of a knowledge was there in those days. Then contribution to the world civilization. India has always contributed to the world civilization, and this has been on the front of knowledge on. It has been on the knowledge. Today also, India is still contributing in the field of knowledge. If we look into the corporates or the NRIs across the globe, you'll see that it is mostly the Indians who are contributing to today's world also. So it is the mind. It's the Indian mind who contributes. It has been there earlier and today also. How was this possible? The approach towards life. This has been possible because we regarded life. We understood. We tried to understand life, and it is life only we can expand. The attitude of giving, the attitude of growth. Today we are talking about growth, development, and so on. But then we also should understand the dangerous trend in front of us when we look into very isolated approach. The individualistic growth. Or only about taking, getting. Not giving. These kind of. So these are the basic philosophy of the concept which helps us to expand or which can lead us to the knowledge society which is most talked about. Intellect, reason, and emotion. Intellect and reason and emotion and heart. Right and the left side of the brain. These are very important constructs. We all understand the importance of intellect. Our intelligence, our intellect, our reason, logic. But at the same time, we should also understand the importance of our emotions, or how to balance the emotion, or how to energize the emotion, or think from the heart. What function does the heart has in creating knowledge? The right and the left side of the brain. The right side, I always get confused. One part of the brain is to do with your logic, arithmetic. I think the left part, and the right part is to do with your emotions. So we have laid a lot of stress on our intellect, our reason, our logic, everything. But then we probably have not given that much of importance to the emotion part. That's where the knowledge which we are seeking will also have its its own disadvantage. Just once again. Somehow it's. Can you see the screen still? No, not being able to. Can you see the third slide? No.
Yes, sir. Now your second slide has been shown.
So the third slide hasn't come, no? Somehow this is just one second. Right. So now you can see the third screen, right? So language, art, craft. It's Indian knowledge system. language, art, and craft. That's a title. Language, art, and craft and culture. So language, art, craft, any creation are all a part of culture. Culture is in a broader concept. When we talk about culture, it's again for India, it's a way of life. Then again, culture, religion, dharma, nature. If you look into this, culture, then religion. Religion is a very much a part of culture. It is entwined together with culture. And then when we talk about religion also, religion, that's an English word, which, are restricted to rituals, rites, mostly this. But if you look into our Sanskrit terminology of religion, it's not equivalent to religion, but it is about religion, it's dharma. And when we talk about dharma, it's again the nature, prakriti, the nature of the river, the nature of a tree, the nature of a soil, the nature of a father, the nature of a son. If you look into this, this is all about dharma. And it's a way of life. You look into our Indian culture, the diversity across the nation, it is all about the different way of life. It looks like a different culture, but it is all, we always talk about unity in culture, unity in diversity. The unifying point is all about the natural laws, the spirituality ingrained in our way of life, the human aspects. That's it. So then Vedas, Upanishads, these are, we all know about it, how Vedas, Upanishads, Purans, but these have been the creation, Ramayana, Mahabharata. And it is because of this that we still continue to be a vibrant civilization. We still talk about our culture, we still try to follow it, and that's how all these things are taking shape. The new education policy also, of course, it took us this much of time in the 70 years, third or fourth time when we are having a new education policy. And I'm sure this has a lot of scope to bring into a lot of this understanding. When it comes to language, Sanskrit has been a very important language, equally Tamil. That is also very important. Then if you look into the growing importance of the Department of Humanities and Social Science, or the subjects, there might not be a full-fledged department, but the subject of humanity and social science in engineering college. Why? Because that is one technical aspect, engineering, which we are studying. But we need to also study or know about the subjective science. It's all about spirituality. Yoga is all about a science, though it's a yogic science. So similarly, when we look into all this subject, it is subjective science. Today, of course, a lot of research is going on this subjective science. Like we gone are the days of understanding intelligent quotients. Today, we talk about spiritual quotients and other such quotients, emotional quotients and all. So, so subjective science is very important. And then intuitive knowledge. This intuitive knowledge is the seed, I would say, which will help us to grow, which will help us to expand. Otherwise, our intellect is always limited. So when we look into the Indian knowledge system, it has been always rooted in an intuitive knowledge. And intuitive knowledge only happens when one dive inside. There was a time when, in fact, today also we have a we have a tendency, or we would like to go deep inside us. Why? Because we have heard the story of Krishna when he was a child, and he ate something, and his mother came and asked him, "What is it that you have eaten?" And the Balakrishna opens his mouth, and and lo and behold, everyone's mother sees the whole universe, and inside his mouth, inside his stomach. Similarly, that whole Jagat is within us. And so it is only when we go inside that we can develop this, knowledge of this universe also. So that is the intuitive knowledge which we need to develop, and which is all about the Indian knowledge system. Having said that, that's a period which we all feel good about. That's a very glorious period. But then, if we look into the time scale, time frame, 6th century Buddhism came in India. That was again a reason. There was a purpose for Buddhism to come, Jainism to come in. And what happened? Too much of nihilism or salvation, mukti, had come, and the Vedic system got slowly eroded away when Sankaracharya has again to come and again revive the Hindu tradition. And after that, that was a period. Quickly, I'm just touching about the time scale where the Islamic invasion also started, right from 8th century, 9th century, 10th century. That was the time again when the Bhakti movement started. Now, this is the point from where I would like to draw and come back to my chosen topic of Bhakti. Now, Bhakti movement started in the 8th century. That's a medieval period from South India with the Alwars moving towards the north and spreading towards the east. It was Ramanuj, Nimbarka, Namdev, Tukaram, Jayadev, Guru Nanak, Kabir, Chaitanya in Bengal, eastern, and then Hankodev in 15th and 16th century. Equally, that was a time when Sufi, Qawwalis also, took shape there. So this is the evolution of humanity. I'm talking about the Vedic period, and now I've come up to the Bhakti when I'll now share more about Shankardev, Srimanta Hankodev, the Khatriya and the Namgar tradition in Assam. See, once again, what Hankodev did was, I'll come to that. It is the larger knowledge system which was prevailing in then Bharat. Because Hankodev introduced to us to a Bharat Barsha. He never said it was Pragjyotispur or Kamatapur or Kamurupa. No, he told us about Bharata Barsha. So, that's a very interesting journey. I'll just quickly take you to the life, quickly. Hankodev, he was again a boon of Lord Shiva. It was his mother who, Hattahanda, who went to Lord Shiva, prayed, and then sought for a son. And Hankora was born in 1449 to Kusumbur Bhoya and Hattahanda. But lost his parents at a very early age, and then was brought up by the grandmother, Khersuti. Kherkuti brought up Hankora. His name was Hankora at the time. His childhood was full of fun and boyish pranks. As in those days, not unlike today. 2-year-old or 3-year-old has to go to a school, play school to start with, and very surprisingly, when he's 4 years old, he have to start writing, KG and all this, But then, interestingly, I'll just take this quick. I did a study on learning process of a child, where the NCERT has said that your motor nerves gets well after 6 years. So, till that time, in fact, from 6, 7, 8, and 9 years, you should develop 4 important skills. One is the understanding skill, the speaking skill, then the reading skill, and the writing skill. The understanding skill at the age of 6 years. See, why I'm telling you all this, today's education is mostly commercialized and it is only after marks. So it ignores very vital skills. Today we are also talking about skills. But then listening is a skill, the ability to listen properly. Understanding is a skill. These are softer skills. Then, speaking, reading, writing. This is not what I said. It is NCERT who have said. This was in 2001. I did this study. So in NCERT, but when I went to schools and I inquired, they said not what to do because we don't have such books which will develop these skills. Because book is written by some marketeers who design books with a different purpose. And later on in Vivekananda Kendra, I think 10, 15 years back, Vivekananda Kendra consciously started in their schools about evaluating the children on these skills. So why I brought up this, because Hankodev, free learning, and later on the Horbakika Abhijan said that it should be participatory, learning should be participatory, it should be free thinking, free learning. That reminds me, post-independent India, it was only 2 schools which continued this learning process of, with freedom, freely learning. One was the Sri Aurobindo Center of Excellence, and one was Jiddu Krishnamurti School. So basically, I mean to say that Hankodev was lucky, fortunate enough at that time, 550 years ago, to grow up in that kind of environment. In fact, today also that kind of environment is learning if you really want to develop our knowledge base, foundation. So Hankodev grew up, carefully at the age of 12, he went to his school, and it was run by Mahendra Kanduli. It was Mahendra Kanduli who discovered him in a genius and asked him in other people. So it was in that tool, because in that tool he went through the Hastras, the Vedas, the Upanishads, Puran, Tantras, the epics and Kaipas, and he was a scholar in a very short time, in a period of 6 to 7 years, 19 years, the time we probably go for a graduation course. And that was the time he mastered all the scriptures. And then that was the time when Mahendra Konduli gave him the title of Deva. And from then he was known as Honkordev. He begins his life. Honkordev begins his life. After school, he started want to lead an intellectual life, or want to learn more about life, but is pressed to take up responsibility as the Bara Bhuya. He belonged to the Bhuya family and also start the householder, get married and so on. So he got married. His wife Suryavati, however, died soon after giving birth to Haripriya. They had a daughter, but his wife expired, passed away. This once again brought him a sense of deeper detachment from worldly ways. He was in a quest. He was thirsty for knowledge. He wanted to go, but his wife passing away of wife also made him, again move towards that, quest. But then again, he was asked to marry. Then, that was second marriage comes later. But after that, he married off his daughter, and then he set out on a pilgrimage. And he came outside, the then Assam here from here, and then went to the rest of the world. And for the first time, he spent a lot of time in Jagannath, Lord Jagannath, and in fact, he took Jagannath as his guru. He was criticized by many people for that also, for taking a guru, a non-living guru, as a human guru, not a human guru, right? But then he was inspired by Lord Jagannath, and then he took him as a guru, and then inspired by his journey, returning home, wanderlust and thirst for light, more light, took him through many such places for 12 years, besides the then Orissa. In fact, Urekha Bornon, he has written a lot about that place in his Kirtan, Urekha Bornon. Then he carried home with a deep impression of the nascent Neo Vaishnava. That was the time I told you, from 8th century. That was the time the rest of the country, Bharata, the Bhakti movement was flourishing. It was a moment of poetry, literature, and a lot of creativity, a lot of creation. After coming back from this sojourn of around 12 years or so, again he came back, he married. He had to marry to start another householder life. Married Kalindini, as soon resumed duties as Shivramani Bhuyan. But his mind was elsewhere. He could not take his mind away from the scriptures. At a small temple, he used to call it Kirtangar, not a temple. That's not the right word. Built in a lonely place where he discussed shastras and held prayers with other people. That was called Harigriha. To be precise, Harigriha is a more appropriate term than a temple. So he did in fact, he had a lot of learning because he was very much conscious about the population of that time, Ahom in those days, because it has a connect with the Far East Asia also. The Mongolian people were also there, the tribal people were also there. So that way, Harigriha was the construct, and this became the embryo of an institution which later on became known as the Hotro. Initially it was not the Hotro, later on it developed to a Hotro. He has already decided the mission of his life. His mission in life was the people, the society, because he, as I told you in the beginning, the approach was about life, because it was life which can make people expand. So his interest was on the people and the society. Honkordev, the Mahapurukha, his primary focus was on the people, the masses who constitute the society. He did not or could not do away the prevalent caste division, but did tone down much of the stigma attached to such discrimination. In fact, those days here also, because the larger tribal population and the various religious practices, esoteric practices and all. So there were a lot of divisions in the society, or rather, when we talk about division, everyone was busy understanding, their own upasana paddhati, the old religious systems and all. And what he did, he tried to tone down and he tried to congregate people. In Vaishnavism, what happens? He tried to bring all the people together, and given an equal status. That's how Namgar also started. All are equal before God. That's what basic premise is. That it is the prayer service and reading of the text that could be conducted. The person is able to do it, irrespective of the social standing in the scale, whole scale. That time. And literacy was one point. And when we talk about literacy, not that kind of a literacy which we talk about now, but basically, reading of the scriptures and chanting or praying, and collectively, And to do this, he made a very attractive system of offering prasad and using the local, made it the mobu. Boot of course came later. The moong, which we call the moong, was a part of the prasad, and with ginger, ada, then salt, and all this put together. There, he used to, and the fruits. There were a lot of fruits available. So these were the how he used to invite people, discuss the sastras, sing the Lord, praise of the Lord, and have prasad and all. So he was just effected a great change and cleansing of the heart. That was a process which he took up to attract people, purify their hearts also. Then he emphasized on the change he would like to see, and practice what you preach. He himself started practicing this, and a lot of aspect about hygiene, cleanliness. Today we talk about the social distancing, about covering your face and all. Hongkore, we used to do that in those days also. Because of the very fact that you need to have a hygiene environment, clean environment. Hodasar or good conduct. There's all this in a Patanjali Yoga Sutta Yama Niyama. These were the things. Be honest, be truthful. Do not steal, and all these things are there. Keeping away from intoxicants, poppy cultivation. See, today also, if you look into the drug menace, poppy cultivation was rampant in this area. In fact, Ohomiyas are called as Kani Kwa Ohomia. Kani was very much there. It was those days also. And how to keep people away from this. It was prevalent in that time also. So basically, an ideal of a balanced life, not of indulgence and license. Freedom is there, but you don't get into a freedom where you start abusing yourself. But at the same time, not of renunciation of self-mortification. Again, not leave the worldly life. This 550 years ago, of course, life was quite different. The nature was different, not like today. But then I'll come back to it later, how such practices are still prevalent. These two systems, the Hotra and the Namgar, these are the two institutions, I would say, very unique. Like this is unique for a country in Bharatvarsha because this has been institutionalized. The Hotra and the Namgar is a two-tier institution. The Harigriha later on became to be known as Namgahar, became the village hub or the community center, the clubhouse, a women's club, theater, art gallery, workshop. Today also, in fact, these are very modern terminology which I am trying to, initially 550 years ago, it was basically a community center where a lot of creativity took place, creation took place, drama, the bhavnas, the akhras, the rehearsals took place there. Today, Namgar is, more or less, if we compare to a women's club, a theater, art gallery, or a place of workshop where you do workshops. It exercised close spiritual control over members of the community and held them back from many and evil acts. So, the emphasis was on spirituality and to control over our vices, to develop or manifest our virtues. That was the prime concern of such setup. It was a village parliament. This Namgar was like a village parliament where a lot of democratic discussions. People had participatory discussion. A lot of solutions. If there was any conflicts and differences amongst the people within the community, it was sorted out in these Namgars. It was a village court. The trials of disputes and crimes were held there, and no one dared disregard the judgment pronounced by the village elders. And excommunication could be decreed by this village panchayat. That time also there, but Namgar, which was like parliament. Now the Hotro, it was it is slightly only difficult cases were transferred. In cases there, it was not solved in a Namgar, it went to a Hotro. Now Hotro also, let me tell you at the beginning, there are two kinds of a Hotro. One is a Hotro which is, again, what is a Hotro? Hotro has come out from, right from the Bhagavat, in Noimika Aranya, where the Rishi Munis, they get together, and when Huk Muni, recited the Bhagavad in front of the rishis, some 2,800 or so, gathered together to listen to Bhagavad. That's how that word Satra evolved, came up. And in fact, today also when we say, "Humne ek Satra liya," is a session basically. So this session of half an hour, 1 hour, or 7 days, or 6 months, or more than that, created later on establishment which came up with the hot rods. And these hot rods were all learning institutes. These are institutes where knowledge took place. If you look compared to today's Lalit Kala, Sangeet Natak Academy and all, it's a place of higher learning of scriptures, music, literature, performing art, fine arts, and so on. Because all these things comes out of creativity. New thinking, higher thinking, poetry, music. This comes all from a higher mind. And it is said that today physics is talking about your connection with the universal intelligence. If you look into a poet, he while or a painter, while he paints, he gets into a meditative mode and he gets into a higher connect with a higher level, and that's how creation starts. So satras were like that kind of thing. It was a boarding school, it was a vocational center, and an extended family. So it was a best of time. I think I'll just quickly skip this great cultural movement. We all know. We'll quickly try to go and see the pictures. I think that will be more. See, another very interesting thing, Shankaradev. He composed Borgits, not 34. He composed many, but then we could salvage 34. Most of them got lost. Madhavdev composed 157 Borgits. Borgits are, it's called Borgit. Different. It's unique in a country. It is prayer song. It's devotional song where it can take you to a meditative state. Unlike in other parts of the country, Shankaradev did very beautiful with this because he introduced pranayam through Borgits. If you look into our Borgits, these are all classical forms. Classical forms have got deeper. See, all the classical forms, be it a Kuchipudi or a Bharatanatyam or a Odissi, all these classical forms actually takes us to our inner level or a spirituality. Today, of course, a lot of commercialization has taken place. We probably have come out of the deeper essence of the spirituality from classical forms. It has become more of a performing art form, Rajasic Guna. But then the essence or the inner meaning of the classical art forms are to go deep into it. So Shankaradev had composed all this. He started with Bhavna, then this Geets and all, with the idea that one can go deep into it. These Borgits are practiced, they are set in tals and ragas, and one can go deep into it and get into a meditative state also. So plays Onkya now. So you see, he designed this Onkya plays of Bhavnas in order to see. He was, we very often talk about the one-act play and Shakespeare, but then it was prior to Shakespeare's one-act play that he did this Onkya. Onkya means one act. Onk. Eta Onko, ek Anka. So Onkya Bhavna. And the language also was very interesting. He didn't started here with Sanskrit, though he knew Sanskrit. He constructed a new language called Brajavali, where we are talking about language. So Brajavali was the connect. It was a larger connect of Maithili, Hindi, and the then prevailing Assamese, so Prakrit, then prevailing Assamese, and he composed it called Brajavali. And this Brajavali today, if you take a Brajavali Bhavna to any part of our country, South India, North India, people will understand because many people understand Sanskrit. Still, there are people who understand Sanskrit, Hindi, and also Brajavali can be understood anywhere in the country. So, with Brajavali, he constructed this place, which became a very important aspect of community bonding and understanding virtues of understanding about the divinity, about spirituality. A great age of fine arts. So it also brought about new tradition of classical music, a wide culture of music, remarkable in its tone, variety. What I'll do, instead of reading this, I'll try to go and share those things. Then it's an age of Renaissance. That was the theme, the 15th, 16th century. In this part, let me tell you once again, we all had a Mongolian construct, and that time all the northeast states were a part of then the Assam. We have Noctes, we still have connection with Arunachal and Nagaland. Nagamis is a language which came out of this. So a larger connect of understanding about Bharatavarsha. Vaishnava Renaissance triggered up by Srimanta Onkodev reached out to all field of cultural development life in Assam, enriched them, brought about together unifying, glorifying vitally to its part of Bharatvarsha. So new standards of democratic ideas. So he was a genius. He combined himself many wonderful qualities, a social reformer. See, he was a social engineer. More than a dharma guru, he was a social reformer because this institutes which I'm talking about today also, we have a Namgar, we have a Hotra, and these are institutes by itself which still have the potential for talking about the Indian knowledge system or talking about a higher mind, which will further create. So the administrator, the poet, dramatist, musician, painter, actor, organizer, humanist, democrat, menace to the heretics, the evil. He was a menace to the evils, the heretics. He was a charming personality, had a deep sense of humor too. A rich legacy, you see the picture? Beautiful, Srimanta Honkodev, and this has been drawn, the first picture painting to be drawn was by Vishnu Prasad Rabha, who is again a very important personality who had carried the legacy of, Srimanta Honkodev. Jyoti Prasad Agarwal, Vishnu Rabha, Bhupen Hazarika. These are the people who had carried forward the legacy of Srimanta Honkodev. If you look into Assam, Ahoms gave us the administrative construct, very important learning, which we still need to refer to the Ahoms and the way of administration and the organization of the communities. And Onkodev gave us the cultural construct. The larger connect with the Bharatvarsha and understanding of the knowledge system of the Bharatvarsha and the Indian knowledge system which we are talking about, right? So what we'll now do, let me see. These are certain pictures. Nam Prahanga, I'm sure many of you must have seen a Namgar. These are in a typical scene in a congregation of prayer where the Vaishnavite people, the common people come and join the prayer, and the chambles and the khul. And these are got deep connect with many parties. If you look into the chambles also, and if you look into a Buddhist monastery, there a lot of things have been incorporated from there. The Buddhism was also in that time, those days, flourishing in this part of of our country, of our nation. These are a few of the photographs that we show you. Let me see if I can play this. No, it's not. No, I don't think I'll be able to play this. Anyway, but Nam Prahanga is control and no, it's not happening. I did press control and click here. This link, if I take and paste it somewhere, let me see. Let me try. You just tell me if I'm there, right? I'll just try this. Huh?
Sir, we could have played the videos of Gayan Bayan and mask making, which you have given me.
You should do this. This is opening, but this screen will be shared. No, can you see something? Can you see something in the screen there?
Sorry,
link to the Python.
sir, need to send me the link, then only I can play the video.
My link to Pothale Pariba.
Okay.
Can you see something? Shashwat, can you see something?
Sir, আপনার screen share হয়েছে, but currently only this part. Your Microsoft PowerPoint is only visible right now, not the
নাই নাই
video.
নাই এইটো নহ'ব this is not happening this is not happening yeah mm. Sorry. No, I think this I won't try now. I'll go to the next screen. It's not moving. Just one second. The same screen is there, no? Right?
Yes, sir. Right now the Microsoft PowerPoint screen is visible.
You can see a different screen now, a different picture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So anyway, I'll go. We'll then play the clip. See, this is a bhavna. Bhavna, as I told you, has been a very important construct. When we talk about language, as I told you, Brajavali. Today also, Brajavali is, we have bhavna in Brajavali. And in a bhavna, that's how Sankardev started with Sinha Jatra. That was the first bhavna. After he came back from his first, journey, he started Sinha Jatra. That was the description of Vaikuntha. He painted and explained how Vaikuntha would have looked like. And bhavna, since then, bhavna, and in himself wrote 6 Ankya plays. And here you see this is Sri Krishna, and behind that's the Ahon, Guru Ahon, where a lot of craft work is there. And all these costumes are called aharjas. So Bhavna has been very instrumental in getting people together to tell them about the divinity and also creativity. Abhinaya becomes very important. Acting. So and that too roles of various play like asuras also, asuras, then all these divine people also. So these are some of the few photographs and like bhavna, so this is a bhavna parijat haran. That's a parijat flower. Parijat. Okay, now video clips of Matiya Khora you can play. You can play Bhavna, I haven't given you, that's very long. You can play that, please, if you can play that Matiya Khora clip.
Mask making, right, sir?
No, not mask making. Matiya Khora.
Matiya Khora, sir, you have not given me. So you give me three videos. One was of Gayan Ban.
You play that Gayan Ban?
Gayan Ban, yes, sir.
Gayan Ban, play. Matiya Khora I haven't given you, no? Or Matiya Khora I couldn't upload, right? I couldn't upload, sorry. You could play that Gayan Ban.
Wait, sir.
Sorry about this.
Sir, can you please turn off your screen? Can you stop presenting your screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So is this visible?
Yeah, it is. It is visible.
Yes, sir. Visible.
That is all. See, this is one aspect of the bhavna. In bhavna, we have a sutradhar. Gayan Bayan becomes a very important part of bhavna. And if you can see the footwork and all, these are all, in a very classical mode. There are footwork, there is arithmetic, ankot ase. So there is a particular tone and all. And it requires a lot of physical, strength also to, play the khol. So, it still is going on. I'm talking about this started in 550 years ago. Today also, if you go to a hotra, you can see all these things. So the Grihastha hotra, of course, are weaker in that way. But I told you, the Udasin hotra or the Sannyas hotra, where mostly they're in the Majuli, they are there. So it's still there. Also in the Grihastha hotra also. So that's a second. What are the other clips? Gayan Bayan, then next clip you have?
Next one is of mask making, sir, and another one was of Dandaunt.
You can give the Dodaunt.
Okay.
Dandaunt is a part of Matiakhara.
Dandaunt. Okay.
You start playing that. See, Matiakhara is, as the name implies, Mati is to do with the ground and Akhara is mean rehearsal. Before a child, in fact, Hankodev, what he did.
Is this visible?
Yes. It is.
Yeah, visible.
These children, that's a Namgar. The earlier was also in a Namgar. These children are being prepared for Matiakhara. At the very tender age of 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, you are exposed to, a child is exposed to asanas, physical asanas. Like in Vivek, child is exposed to asana at the age of 12 years, 11 years, balancing asanas and Surya Namaskar. But here, a child is exposed to asana at an early age, where he's taught about physical education. Two schools, Center, Aurobindo Center for Excellence and Guru Krishnamurti, they continued with the physical education part. Similarly, in our Patras, we had that Matiakhara, where a child is exposed to, there are around 64 such postures, in different names, like Morai Panikwa, Kaswai Panikwa, Morai Herikara, Dhenu Tanan, there are other various names. So a child is exposed to physical education, or that's a beginning, starting point when the child can get into playing the khol or the nritta. So that's how Matiakhara. There are other very interesting clips. I couldn't send you the one. So these are the preliminary steps of Matiakhara. Then, when it comes to craft also, I wish I could have shown you a Bhavana clip, but that was too long. Because this occurred to me very lately. Because I thought that that was too late for me to send you across. So this Bhavana is full of Borgits, then Khol, then Abhinay, and then mask also. Let me show you that you play that clip, mask making.
Mask making, yes.
So I'm sure many of us have seen this mask, but how they make it, that's where the skill, traditional skill is still there. And today, what we need engineers from you, the critical area of, you can play that. It is made of bamboo, where the skeleton is of bamboo. Then on that we put on cloth and mud, which is mixed with cow dung also, and then painting and other things. So it's a creative process.
এইবিলাক উঘাৰ লাগিব উনালে যাব কাপোৰ দ্বিতীয়টো কাপোৰ আকৌ এইখন মাৰি যায়
So that was M. Gusam, now with a Padma Shri.
লাগিছে কোকন না লগা প্ৰত্যেকটা 일본 오발레 사이트는 비디오 먹으러 그랬어. 이거 오발레 나도 저도 이거 나 나도 가자고 이거 오발레 이거 발도
Okay. Thank you. I'll have a few more slides, 2, 3 more slides. These are pictures. I'll quickly go to them. And then, this mask, when you talk about mask, can you see that picture?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this is very recent in 2018. We had the Assam Skill Development Mission, ASDM. So they wanted to try some traditional skill, and we suggested them Mukha. And for the first time, a traditional skill in the country, from Assam went and Mukha. So that you can see the pictures, ASDM, right? So that's how the Mukhas are being made. See, it was a competition, mind you, in Majuli. Painting, and you see, only one mask was prepared because that was a competition. The Mukha of Garuda, he was the first one. So in today's time also, we understand that there is a lot of potential when we talk about a craft. But today we are talking about skill, but then are we talking about a traditional skill? I've shown you this part. That was a time when there was rain, and luckily we had a dryer there. M. Goswami had a dryer, but then he put that into a drying machine. So what we need, see this, because we have rainy season. Today what we need, if we need to scale this up also, because see, slowly the way Hotriya Nitya and all has come out from the Hotra and become a performing art. Similarly, a lot of things are there still in our tradition, which needs to come out in contemporary times. And besides Bhavna, where you use mask, we should be able to take this as various utility items or decorative items also, because internationally we have got a big trade happening in mask also. So that's how our tradition needs to be nurtured and to be discussed in modern times. What we need here, we are doing some work on this. Maybe sometime we can collaborate with your institute to do some more research and work on such things, where we are thinking of making an oven which will help us to do this faster, more than a dryer. Then the paint that you see, I'll come to that when I show you you see this painting. It's a painting of a scripture which is 500 years old. Of a folio of Bali Hotra Sitra Bhagavat, and you see the paint. It's still very vibrant. It is made of hengul and haital. These are minerals, and these are being converted into paint, organic paints. If you look into this, that's a Rangoli Kirtan. This Kirtan is still there in a Hotra in Koliabor, and the paint is still like this, because it's made from hengul and haital. These are some of the manuscript painting, that you can still say, and still this art form is still vibrant, is still working. And these are modern times where we are trying on handmade paper and other. Otherwise, these are on hasipat, in sasipat, that's a very modern time painting. Then wood carving, these are the wood carving work that you see in the hotros, in the namgars, the wood carving. The doorway. These are creative things where still has a potential or are still being practiced. These are some of the items, various items. And this, of course, is a Guru Akhon, where you see, if you look into these details, the tortoise, the elephant, and the Nam King Ho. This has got a lot of significance and the various art forms there. Right? Okay, I think with this I conclude here. Thank you very much for this patient hearing, and I'm sorry for all the inconvenience, technical inconvenience that I've caused. Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. We learned a lot about our own culture, our traditions, which we didn't know it earlier, or we used to know, but must have forgotten something about that. We'll cherish all these things on our days to come, with the hope that we shall meet once again. Thank you, everyone. So with this, we come to the end of our webinar today.
I'll just take maybe 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
If there is anyone who would like to, ask anything, I'm sure all of you have attentively listened. If you have got anything in your mind, you would like to know anything, I'll try to answer. I mean, yes. Who? Niranpur. Please, Niranpur. Hmm. It is a lot of documentation has been done. In fact, a lot of work. If you go to have you visited any hotra? Okay. Okay. So you'll know Borpeta. If you look into Borpeta, Hati Puzi, that's a concept which has been there, and today also it is there, I guess. So each of these hotra, if you go and look into, their bharals or their treasury, like many of the hotras have the museum also. I'm sure these are all there. But coming to modern documentation, like manuscript documentation is taking place. There's a process of digitalizing this also. More than documenting, we also need to read these scriptures also, because these scriptures, besides the religious part, the dharmiya part, there are other social constructs which are there. The nidans are there. Nidans are related to the traditional system of healing. Those they are called as nidans. So the documentation still needs to be done, but a lot of thing has already been done. Like Onkodev Kalakshetra, when it comes to mask making, they have done a lot of work on that. They have a museum there. When we talk about mask, we have got different varieties of mask. We have got 3 parts of mask. Mukh Mukha, So Mukha, Lotokuri Mukha. These are different there. So a lot of things has been done, but a lot of things needs to be done also. Okay. So if there is no other question, I think we can wind off with this. Or Shashwat?
Yes, sir. Would ma'am
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was really nice. We had only intimated you one day ahead of this. If you have done these wonders in one day, I think if we would have given you a little more time, it would have been better. And technical glitches are always there, sir. You need not worry about that.
I'm feeling bad because I wish I could have done more. Because at the last moment, I thought that to share this video clips, and I was not qualified or not competent to do it.
No, not at all, sir. These are always there. We are used to.
Because see what happens in a PowerPoint, if you see all this text and all, it becomes very drab. I wish I could have shown you a little. I had a bhavana, but someday, this is a beginning. If you want me, I can come over to your institute. Share more, if you want to know.
Yes, sir. That is the thing. We want you to be here in the campus and physically give a presentation. So it would be excellent, I think, sir. Right. Because the communication will be without any glitches and anything, one-to-one. And then it would be more, beautiful it will be. Right. And we should know all these things. As you have already told us in the beginning of your, whatever you have presented to us today, that our religion and dharma gives us the way of life, how actually we should lead our life. And this is very, very important at this juncture where we are standing today as a nation, where our young generation are, and where they are going, they want to go, where they are and they want to go. So I think they really need a proper direction. And I think if we can bring in our religion and culture in this, it will give us a distinct focus on the way of life that we should be leading. Proper human life, holistically developed way of thinking, living life, and everything. Sir, very often we will be needing you to have an interaction on this, because I could see you could relate all the today and tomorrow and yesterday. Everything you can relate, past, present, and future. You could relate properly. Given a better time, given a more time, I think it would have been beautiful. I could understand. So we also take the responsibility of that.
No, in fact, I would, in fact, congratulate you also, or thank you also, because this new education policy has given us a lot of scope. And
Yes.
here, in the days to come, education is going to be redefined. And institutes like you, in fact, today we know that education has been opened up to the private sector. And it is the private sector who will do well, because they understand what is effectiveness, what is efficiency. And unless the government, when we look into the public sector also, as I told you, I was there in NALCO. There was always a pressure that NALCO is the only public sector making aluminum, but then there's always been a pressure to divest, because either you perform or you perish. That's the writing on the wall. So it is the private initiative which will, in the days to come, which will create. But here, a very important aspect is the private initiative should keep that balance. Otherwise, what will happen? It will create havoc. That's again. So with institute like you who regard this philosophy, who regard our culture, our religion, our dharma, which is very practical and applied, and more so the scope given by the new education policy, where colleges or where institutes will have to be self-sufficient. It's not only such philosophy, but you also have to, such institutes also have to be self-sustaining. So, business, incubation, new product, new development, new technology has to come up from institutes like you. And when it comes to new product and new technology, it is the mind. So how much time are we devoting to the mind? Are we developing the mind to create the future product? So these are the questions. I leave with these questions with you, and I look
Yes.
forward to it. Open.
Yes.
Thanks for this.
Thank you. Thank you, and the entire team once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Please take it forward. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Bye bye.